Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. I am back checking in on my boot camp for the mind and soul sessions, whereby I am walking myself through my own coaching program. I'm coaching the coach per se. So thank you for joining and thank you for watching this on replay. I saw I had about 25 people watch it yesterday on replay, so I appreciate that. I don't have many followers at all on Itopia, so I appreciate anybody who is watching, and I hope that this helps. I realized afterwards that I didn't explain to you the overview of the coaching program that I'm putting myself through. So it's 8 modules, and what I'm going through right now is module 1, whereby it's not solution. Hi, Amos, how's it going? Module 1 is not solution orientated. It is more an exploratory module whereby we figure out what is and isn't working in our lives. And so yesterday I was establishing what my baseline is, what is and is not working for me in life. And I carried on with the program last night for about an hour. And the exercises I was working on last night was looking at what my self-care practices have been like for the past year, as well as what my boundaries look like. So again, I'm not going to be offering solutions at this stage. This is more me coaching the coach, being very authentic and transparent on what hasn't been working for me. So I need to take my specs off. I need to get my eyes tested. I'm finding I keep taking them on and off all the time. So anyway, so yesterday I was looking at my self-care practices. Self-care in the sense of how have I been looking after myself? Hi, Jessie. It's nice to see you again. Thank you very much for joining again. So self-care is very important, but often we don't look after ourselves. When things kind of go wrong in life, the first thing that goes down the pan is our self-care. And my self-care has completely and utterly gone down the pan in the past 18 months, and my iPad just turned itself off. Okay, here we go. I have to turn my phone off because now it's just buzzing. There we go. So what I determined, is that basically my self-care went down the pan last year. As I say, I went through a divorce 18 months ago, just over 18 months ago. And I think like many people, the self-care immediately just went to shit instantly, because your world rocks when you go through divorce or a separation or a breakup of any kind. Nobody rocks a divorce out of the park and does it perfectly from the get-go. There's a lot of hurt feelings. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. And so when that happens, at least in my case, I immediately stopped exercising. I stopped running. I stopped eating nutritiously. I went straight to comfort food. I went straight to cookies and chocolate and all sorts of things. I wasn't sleeping at night. So sleep is a big thing. If you don't sleep properly, then you don't have energy to do much. And so then you don't have the motivation to then look after yourself. So I think basically what happened is I had too much change too quickly, in the sense of a divorce, moving countries, giving up my home, my cats, and so forth. It was just too much. And so therefore my self-care just went to shit, being completely transparent. To change that, I realized what I need to do is be transparent. I need to be intentional about my self-care. So I used to be pre-divorce. I used to be very intentional about looking after myself. I was very intentional about going running every day. I was very intentional about eating properly, eating healthily, not eating lots of sugar and crap and junk and so forth. And I have not been intentional. In fact, I've probably been living in autopilot mode, and maybe even survival mode. Maybe that's a bit of a harsh word, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying. Is I've been living in this survival mode for the last 18 months, just trying to navigate my new normal. And so, as I say, my self-care has completely and utterly gone to shit. I then went through the exercise. This is really interesting for me. So, as I say, I'm going through my own program, and the section I went through last night was establishing what your boundaries look like. I used to have amazing boundaries. I used to say no is a complete sentence and you don't need to explain yourself. I have been explaining myself for about 18 months now. And so I did an exercise trying to determine, where did I lose the boundaries? What happened exactly? And I think what happened is I again, I'm referring back to it. Hey, Sonny, he's joined again. I think what happened is I chose to. Oh, that's Jesse. Hi. So I'm going to interrupt myself as I go along and read comments. So Jesse, it's exactly like that. I don't sleep, eating too much sweets and food, etc. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I'm changing this because I'm tired of being sick and tired. But I feel you, and don't judge yourself for it. I've been beating myself up for the last 18 months of, why have you done this, and why are you not eating properly, sleeping properly, etc. And I came to conclusion last night, beating myself up is not helping or solving the problem. So if you're beating yourself up about it, please stop. Listen to Coach Claire. Um, anyway, going back to boundaries, as I say, I used to have amazing boundaries. My boundaries have gone to shit in the last 18 months. And I think what happened is because I chose to get a divorce, um, I felt extreme guilt for that, extremely guilty for hurting my ex. And so I allowed unkind things said to me, unkind texts sent to me from former family members and so forth. And to a degree, I thought that I deserved it. And so because I allowed that to slip through, I started to let it slip through in all avenues of my life. I just was carrying such immense guilt. And I would say that guilt probably lasted for about 12 months, just immense guilt and shame for getting a divorce. Divorce, although it's common in society, it's not really accepted. You get a lot of judgment for ending a relationship. That took me by surprise. Apparently, 70%, women in particular, will lose 70% of their friends because of getting a divorce. There's a lot of shame involved. And so, because I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt that I was carrying, I think that's where my boundaries fell to the wayside because I felt as though I deserved to be treated poorly. And so, discovering this, I was doing my exercises last night. And so one of the exercises is it's a grid, and you have to write down the people I happily say yes to and the reasons why, the people I say yes to, but I feel obliged to and I don't want to say yes to, and the reasons why. And then I came up with a new category, which is not in my notebook, but I'm going to actually add that in there, is the people who take my yes without my permission. And I'll explain that in a second. So I put down the people I happily say yes to is Sunny. I will happily say yes to him because he is an absolute true partner in life. He's the love of my life, and he is an equal partner. He would lay down in traffic for me, and I feel that. And so I happily will do anything to ensure his happiness as well. People I feel obliged to say yes to, and why. So this is an interesting thing to me, is I do a lot of volunteer work, and it's my pleasure to do so. But I've noticed something, is that I'm doing too much of it. And I feel, hi, Sam, I hope you're doing well. I do a lot of volunteer work because I genuinely, from the bottom of my soul, want to do a lot of volunteer work. I want to give back. I want to help people. I love helping people. However, I'm in the middle of building a business. I have no time to myself at all. Yet I continuously keep volunteering for things. And it's because I feel obliged to continuously say yes to volunteering things because I don't want to let people down. And I see other people in a pickle. I remember a few weeks ago, Sunny and I were asked to volunteer for something. Then it was an 8-hour day of volunteering. And I knew in my gut I did not want to do it because I was too tired. And I had earmarked this day of, I'm just going to sit by the pool and read my book and just zen. But these people that needed help for volunteering were in a major pickle. Nobody was helping out and they really needed help. And so I felt obliged to say yes because I didn't want them to be in a pickle. So that's something that I have learned for myself, is that I can't be there for everybody. I'm good to nobody. So that's something I learned. And then there's a new category, which I'm going to add into my program. As I say, I see that Amos is putting the links for me as well. if you want to do my program, I will happily give it to you for free. Amos has put the links there. Go on my website. The email address is on there, or you can email me, claire.rogers@itopiacoaching.com, and I will happily give you that program for free. It's an online program. It's self-directed as well. There's lots of videos and guiding you through it. So if you do want it and you want some help, take it. You can have it for free. Just do me a favor. Don't do mass distribution for it, because it actually costs me money. It costs me a lot of money to give it away for free. So the new category I'm going to add into my program, I was coming up with this last night, is I don't necessarily give my yes to people, but rather it is taken from me. And I'm going to give you, I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to give you some examples of where my yes has been taken from me. And it's because I'm an empath as well, which means I feel other people's pain, if that makes sense. I know that's everybody and their dog calls themselves an empath. I acknowledge that, but I'm a proper empath. And so I take on everybody else's pains and their dramas and so forth. I can feel that energy and so forth. And so consequently, that makes me a very empathetic person, which means I have to be careful because people will take advantage of me. And that's what I mean by people taking my yes without my permission. And so I'll give you an example of, I'm building a business right now in Palm Springs, and a lot of people are not following through on their promises with construction. I've given away my money to people, and I am being brushed to the side because other jobs are bigger priority or more priority because they have paid more, or maybe it's because I'm a female, or maybe it's because just I'm such a sweet, nice person that, it's easy to just put Claire to the side. That's an example of, you've taken my yes from me without my permission. Whereas if people could just say to me, you know what, Claire, I'm really, really busy and I'm doing XYZ job, but would this be a good solution? Or, hey, I just can't even do the job. Can I refund the money back to you and you find someone else? That's an example of including me in the process, and you're not taking my yes. You're not forcing me into a situation. I've had quite a few people with that, where I've paid for services in various industries here in Palm Springs, and there's no follow through. I get put to the bottom of the pile, and things take a couple of months for deliverables when really it should, everybody else, it takes a couple of days. I have to stop allowing that behavior. And then the other thing is, I lent a couple of grand to someone over a year ago, and this person was desperate for help, and I gave that money, and that I was told I was going to get paid back in a month. And now we're over a year later, and I'm getting every sob story under the sun as to why I can't be paid back. And I really need this money now. I just got a bill for $2,000 to put tiling in my business, and I don't have the extra $2,000 lying around. And so if I was paid back, I could then use that. I'm now in a predicament, and I want my money back, and this person is giving me every excuse in the book as to why they're the victim and not me. And so that's an example of someone taking my yes without my permission. Again, if that person had come up and said, you know what, Claire, I'm in a real pickle, I'm in a real shit situation, but I'm going to save $100 a month up for the next 20 months to pay you back. That's awesome. You've not taken my yes from me. You're working with me on that. That's so cool. I can work with it. So this is something I've realized, is that I'm allowing people to take my yes from me without my permission. And so I need to work on that. And then, so the next question is, when you do that exercise of who are you saying yes to when really you mean no, the next question is, how much time does that take up? So by me volunteering too much, yes, that takes up a lot of time. But also when having your yes taken from you without your permission, that actually takes up a lot of my time, because I don't sleep at night because of it. Because I am not expressing my displeasure of being taken advantage of, because I want to be a good person and I want to be understanding and so forth. What's happening is, I go to bed at night, I fall asleep for a couple of hours, and then at 2 a.m., all of a sudden my mind wakes up, and then I start getting irritated in my head, and I start having conversations with said people who have taken advantage of me. And so then I don't sleep well, and then the next day I'm exhausted, and then periodically throughout the day I will start getting irritated because I'm thinking, this person still hasn't paid me back, or this person hasn't done this, or whatever. It's taking up way too much of my time. So this is something that I have recognized with myself. Um, the next question is, what makes me say yes? What's the cold hard truth? Why do I say yes to everything? And the reason being is I want to be a good person. It's really important to me. It's really important to me in life to be a good person and to give back to society. Um, but I've realized last night, if I say no because I can't volunteer for 8 hours, or I can't volunteer for 5 hours like I did last weekend, and I can only do two, it doesn't mean that I'm not a good person. And so this is something I've realized I must have very high standards for myself of what a good person is. And so I'm running myself ragged. So this is something I've realized. Jesse, I can see it says you said you feel like you're talking about me. Spot on. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that we're not alone in this. But again, I'm hoping that you're hearing the mistakes that I'm making along the way and try not to fall down the same mistakes as me. So the next question was, how do I feel when I say yes, but really I mean no? And how do I feel when my yes is taken from me? Honestly, I feel disrespected and I feel taken advantage of. That is how I feel. And so, because I feel disrespected and taken advantage of, hi, Maddie, I'm on the phone. Nice, it's nice to see you. Because I feel disrespected and taken advantage of, that's also taking up a lot of space in my mind as well. Where else am I going here? So I basically wrote down here, I allow my boundaries to be crossed because I want to be respected and accepted, and I want to be loved. I think that's a very authentic and real thing to say, is everybody in life wants to be respected and accepted and loved. And so I am probably overcompensating for going through a shitty divorce last year and hurting my ex and so forth. And that's kind of, I'm overcompensating. I'm trying to build myself back up to say, hey, I'm not a bad person. I don't normally hurt people, if that makes sense. And so the next question is, what would I need to do to make myself have boundaries? What actions do I need to take? And I wrote down, I need to actually advocate for myself. And I think we all need to advocate for ourselves. And I think it's harder as an empath to advocate for yourself because you tend to, as an empath, put everybody else first. But it's like that whole oxygen mask scenario on a plane. If the plane's going down, what's the first thing you're supposed to do? You put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help the person next to you. And so I need to start advocating for myself so that I can then be there for other people. So then the next exercise in the notebook is, sorry, I need a drink. So I'm drinking my drink again. So in case you missed it yesterday and you want to start being healthy, 2 lemons, turmeric, and ginger. And if it's a little bit like doesn't taste great, put a little bit of honey or maple syrup in there and drink that all day long. Anyway, so the next exercise was, what are you tolerating? That's a good one. And I realized I'm tolerating a lot of things. So again, the purpose of that exercise is to figure out, when you tolerate too much stuff, that is what makes you tired. It's what makes you depressed. It makes you feel overwhelmed, and it makes you feel out of control. I realized with myself yesterday, I've got a lot of stuff whirling around in my brain. And I didn't realize how much I was tolerating until I actually sat down and actually made a list of what I'm tolerating. And so it goes from the small to the big. I've got a lot of small things I'm tolerating and a lot of big things that I'm tolerating. So the things that I'm tolerating, and some of them are just not a big deal at the end of the day, but it's a cumulative thing. So one of them is I'm tolerating a very cluttered office at home. It's driving me crazy. It's chalked to the ceiling full of boxes for our business, Frisky Business Cat Cafe. That drives me nuts. I'm a neat freak. I don't know why I'm a neat freak. Actually, I do know why I'm a neat freak. I am a neat freak because I feel in control then. When everything is beautiful and all put away and all nice and so forth, I feel at least I have some control in life. and our office is out of control. It will get better once we open in a couple weeks and all those boxes can move out to Frisky Business. I'm tolerating a lot of obligations. I'm not going to say the name of the organizations, but a lot of obligations I have signed up for, some volunteering stuff that I just don't have time for anymore, but I have to do it because I've already committed to that and I will not let people down. So I'm tolerating that. I referred to this yesterday. I'm not going to go into great details here, but I'm also tolerating a narcissist that is wasting a lot of our money and our time in our life. So I'm tolerating that. I'm tolerating a lot of people not fulfilling their promises in terms of my business. I'm also tolerating an individual that's not paid me back $2,000. I am tolerating, this is going to sound silly, but you know what I've been tolerating? And Sunny said to me yesterday, why haven't you mentioned this? I am tolerating, I have a watch. It's a Garmin watch. It's nothing sexy or exciting, but it used to just track my steps and I used to track my running. And it's a Garmin. And I've lived in America for 18 months. And what I'm tolerating is every day I set it to the American time. And then I wear it all day long. And then the next morning I wake up and it has defaulted back to British time. And it's driving me insane. And for 18 months, I've been thinking, why is this bloody watch keep resetting itself to English time? I am tolerating this. And I have probably spent more time than necessary thinking about this damn watch for the last 18 months. I might as well have just bought a new watch by then. It sounds silly, but it does waste my time thinking about it, trying to fix it, trying to figure out why it's not working. And then the other things that I'm tolerating is, my ironing basket is out of control. So in London, every Sunday, I used to do my ironing. I used to put a movie on, stand there, do my ironing for the week and put it away. I haven't done ironing in months. And so therefore I've got bags and bags and bags of ironing that I have to deal with. I know it sounds silly, but it's accumulative of all of these things that are just renting space in my mind. And then the things that I am also tolerating is I'm tolerating the fact that I'm not exercising, I'm not eating properly and all that. I'm tolerating too much stuff that doesn't make me happy. And this was a good exercise because I actually got a lot of clarity then. And once you get clarity, that's when you can make changes. So if you want to do that same exercise, pen and paper, write down, what am I tolerating? And it doesn't matter. It could be big things, small things, whatever. Write it all down. Because again, once you've got that clarity, you can then scratch out what doesn't need to be in your brain anymore. You can solve a lot of these problems, i.e. said watch, I will give to Sunny, fix it or I'll bin it and we'll get started again. I'm just reading some of your notes here. I want to include you in this because you're taking your time to join me. I want to include you in this. So I am going to read some of your comments here. Amos is saying, unfortunately, any time you pay up front, they will take advantage because they've already been paid. It's always best not to pay in full until the job's done. Absolutely. You're completely and utterly right, Amos. It's a mistake in learning on my part. Jesse's saying, people take me for granted because I never say no. It's not fun when they do that. 100%. I get you. Amos is saying, sounds like you need to start holding people accountable. 100%. 100%. I need to do that. So then I wrote down the answer to this question. What do I need to give up? So I need to give up volunteering so much. I need to give that up. I can still volunteer, but I don't need to volunteer to the degree that I am volunteering. And just because I say no to volunteering opportunities doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. I need to remember that. I need to give up dealing with the narcissist in our life. I need to just let that go away. I need to wash my hands of the people that I have paid for services and are not fulfilling their obligations. I just need to give that up, wash my hands of it, say to myself, that's a very expensive lesson and you don't make that mistake again, Claire. And I need to give up. This is hard. This is really hard. I need to give up chocolate chip cookies. I am a cookie monster. I love me some chocolate chip cookies, but the chocolate chip cookies and the sugar and the carbs and all that are not serving me and are not helping me sleep at night because sugar, what is it does? Spikes your blood sugar levels. So then it makes you really initially very active. Then it makes you tired. And then it wakes you up again. I need to give all that crap up. So then the next set of exercises I was doing is, what are my self-sabotaging behaviors? That's tough. So self-sabotaging is things like excuses, procrastinations, all that kind of thing. That's what self-sabotaging is, if I give an example, self-sabotaging is, I have a goal, for example. This is not a real goal, but an example. So self-sabotaging is, you want to lose 5 pounds in a month because you want to wear this amazing wedding dress. And then you're exercising, but then you come home and you eat chocolate cake. That, eating the chocolate cake, that's negating out the exercise, that is an example of self-sabotaging. So, what are my self sabotaging behaviors that I have adopted over the last 18 months? Uh, I procrastinate. I have been procrastinating on a lot of things. So, for example, I need to write my food license exam. It's a big exam, it's 3 hours. I've studied for it loads of times for the last, I don't know, 6 months, 5 months, something like that. I procrastinate because I don't want to write the exam because I've got other things to do. And so I put it in my diary. I write it down. It was in my diary yesterday, and I scratch it out, and I'll do it today, and then it'll probably get scratched out today, and I'll do it tomorrow. I procrastinate on the things that I don't want to do, and that's stupid. And so what does it happen? So I put it in the diary every week to say I'm going to write that exam. I don't write the exam, and then I put it in the following week, and I have spent more time thinking about I have to write this exam than actually having written the exam. So I need to stop that. The other self-sabotaging that I do is that I ignore my own needs and my own wisdom in the favor of other people's needs. I need to stop that. Uh, and then I also I put my needs last. Got to stop doing that as well. Because again, to that point of I'm now tired and exhausted, and so I don't have the energy to do things. So, for example, yesterday I was bagged. I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. And we were supposed to have a dinner with two lovely ladies that Sunny and I got to know about 6 months ago. And I bailed. Sunny went, and I was like, I just don't have the energy to have a conversation with people. And it's because I have been helping too many people along the way. I have an energy for myself to then go and have a conversation with someone. So I need to stop. Yesterday, I felt bad for canceling at the last minute, but Sunny went and had a lovely time, and the girls completely understood why I didn't come. But that was an example of, no, I need to actually put my needs first. And my needs at that moment was, I need to be on my own, I need to read my book, and I need to chill. I need some space. I then had to answer the question, why have I adopted all of the behaviors I've just been discussing with you? And the honest answer is, I have just allowed all of the changes in my life to overwhelm me. That's exactly what's happened. And then this was a tough one to answer. How do I feel when I self-sabotage? I feel shameful, and I feel very disappointed in myself. And that shame then makes me feel bad about myself, which then consumes too much time in my brain and then stops me from sleeping, etc., etc. It's like this roundabout circle. And so then the next question was, what would it take to change these behaviors? And my answer to that was, I have to remember I'm a boss lady. I am a freaking boss. So I was thinking about this last night. I don't know if all of you know this, but in 2013, I found myself suffering from panic attacks, anxiety, and depression because I was working way too much. And if anybody here who's watching or watches after the fact have had panic attacks, it is one of the worst feelings in the world, because it feels like you're having a heart attack and it feels like you're dying. And I managed to crawl myself out of hell. I was having those panic attacks several times a day. It was almost for 2 years that I was suffering from that. And I picked myself up and I white knuckled it with no medication. Not that I'm endorsing no medication, but that's just what worked for me. I white knuckled it and I pulled myself through shit. And I came out on the other side and I became a boss lady. And then I became a motivational speaker, flying all around the world, telling people about my experience with my mental health challenges. And so it takes a boss to heal yourself from something like that. And so I have to remember that I am a boss. I've just fallen down a little bit. And I need to take my power back. I need to stop allowing people to take advantage of me. So the next section is understanding how we think. So do we speak with empowering words or disempowering language? So I noticed something that has crept into my vocabulary is I say a lot, I should do this, I should do that, I should. It's not I want to, but I should. And so that's something that I have realized and I have to stop doing is I have to stop shoulding myself. And I have to actually change that to I want to or I don't want to. But I shouldn't be shoulding myself, if that makes sense. And so finally, the last section that I'll leave you with that I worked on last night was understanding what my limiting beliefs are and some of my negative self-chatter. And the limiting beliefs that I have adopted over the last 18 months is that I must do everything. I don't know where that has crept in. Normally, I'm very good about handing off work and so forth. I had a big team that was reporting to me in my previous corporate life, and I had no problem with handing off everything. But in an effort to gain control over my life and everything that's happened to me in the last 18 months, for some reason, I have taken on everything and I'm not handing things out. And I think it's because I'm trying to gain some semblance of control in my life. But I need to stop that. I need to start asking for help and accepting help. And I think that's all that I had on there. So basically, as I say, this session today is not about solutions. This is just about raw, authentic honesty of understanding, again, what is and is not working in my life. And then what will eventually happen, I think I finish this module tonight probably, and then I'll start working on the solutions going forward. So this, as I say, is just me being raw and authentic and saying what is and is not working for me. Before I sign off, I'm going to do exactly what I did yesterday. I'm going to pull one of my cards to leave you with. So this one says attachment. Attachment to desire is the cause of suffering. Attachment arises when we want something different from what we are experiencing right here, right now. This ever-increasing list of unfulfilled desires causes us to experience discontentment and disconnects us from living simply in the pure joy of the present moment. Absolutely. I've noticed that. I have had a lot of attachment in the last 18 months of outcomes that I want to situations. I have had a lot of attachment to I want my business to open at this date at my time scale, and I can't control it. And because I can't control it, it drives me crazy. And so basically what that card is saying is that we have to just live in the present moment, work hard, and what will be, will be. And it's not necessarily on our time scales. So just enjoy the present moment. I will leave you at that. Just before I go, I can see Jesse saying, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow for a checkup and maybe get help with my anxiety and depression. Good job. Good job. It's very important to ask for help. In my situation, this was in 2013, when I was going through anxiety and panic attacks, I did not ask for help at all for various reasons. One is I didn't want to go to a doctor. I was living in London, and if I went to a doctor and said I was having panic attacks and anxiety and depression, I was scared they were going to sign me off of work and then I would be fired. That was a narrative I had created in my head. And so I did not ask for help. So good job for going to the doctor and asking for help. And if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. Put some comments down below in this video. If you want some tips and tricks and so forth, then please let me know and I will help you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. Again, I will check back in tomorrow and let you know my latest updates on my journey through my program. Amos, thank you very much for moderating. I appreciate it. Jesse, thank you for joining. And also Sam, thank you for joining. And I think Sunny's still here. So thank you very much. And I shall speak to you all tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye.